Hello friends, welcome to another tutorial, another great one to learn how to make this lovely S-clasp and the matching chain. So you are getting two tutorials in one with this video. I was so inspired by our last week's video where we learned kind of the same idea. It was a figure 8 design for a pair of earrings. I'll leave the little link up here for you if you'd like to watch that video. Love the infinity design. It really never goes out of style. It's so versatile because you don't really need a lot to go along with this to make it as a connector. You just need this infinity clasp, S clasp, however you would like to say it. And it is totally customizable, just depending on where you put your pliers, how long you make the wire, or even how you scoop the edges here. Plus, it is super, super strong. So you can depend on it if you're making it into a bracelet or into a necklace. Very, very strong. Plus, we're gonna be doing some hammering, so that just makes it even extra sturdy. I also love how this bracelet, the clasp is so beautiful on its own. It can be the focal piece, if you will, to the bracelet. But if you'd rather not, you know, it can just be like that. I told my husband what I was going to be doing today. I told him, oh, we're doing an infinity bracelet. He said,
wow, you're going to be doing that forever.
Ha 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 ha. He's a great co-worker. He's a great friend and a great partner in life. So hope you got a little chuckle out of that. I'm going to give you some just basic guidelines, but I want you to take some wire and play around how you can create different looks in this infinity clasp just by making it a little longer or placing your pliers in different locations on the wire. This one I added a little hammering texture to it and also curled the ends a little bit more for just a little more frilly, if I can say that, a little more frilly clasp. So totally customizable. I'll give you some basic starting points to get going. Tools and supplies for the tutorial, basically everything. For the wire, I'm using 16 gauge. That's optional. You could go a little thicker or even thinner. So all your normal supplies you're gonna need, including a bench block with the hammers, a nylon hammer and a chasing hammer, of course a ruler, maybe some round nose, maybe your bail pliers, a chain nose flush cutter, and nylon jaw pliers. We're going to make this gorgeous clasp first to get started, and you are going to need a 8 centimeters length of whatever wire that you choose. Remember, I'm using 16 gauge. 8 centimeters, flush cut. I'm going to use the 5th step on my bail pliers to make this bend right here. And you're going to place them roughly 1/3, 2/3, and we're going to make the first bend in our infinity clasp. Just wrap that on around. Oops, sorry about that. Wrap that on around like that. Take it off your pliers. Turn your pliers so that now we have it like this. So, but you can customize this. You can bring it out a little bit and make it even longer. It just depends on what the look that you're going for. But for this video, I just snug it right up against that bend in the wire that's wrapping around. Oops. Bring it on around and get this end of the wire underneath. We need it on the other side, if I can get it to do that. Take it off, and you might need to adjust just a little bit here and there just to get that figure 8 shape going already. The other part is customizable. You can either take your flush cutters and cut right along this line that the clasp is making, or you can cut it out here a little bit and have extra loop this part of the clasp. That really is customizable for how you would like to do that. I'm going to show you just about 1 or 2 millimeters out on the side of this angle here. Flush cut that side, flip it around, do the same thing, leaving about 1 or 2 millimeters. We're gonna open this up just a little bit. And the reason why we're doing that is because now this is when the hammering comes in. We want to put a little bit of, it's probably easier if I just show you on, on one of these. We want to flatten this out just a little bit, these little end pieces. So this is where this comes in. And you have to open this up a little bit so that we can get it on the edge of a bench block like this. Right? Take your, I have found that sometimes the chasing hammer, I just go straight to the ball part of it for more of an effect. Time to file up the ends a little bit. Now it's time to put in the little scoop at the end here that's going to lay against the clasp. Got to find which way that works better. I do this every single time, figuring out how to hold it. And we're just putting a little slight bend in there, and then you just move it back into shape. All right, and there you have it. You notice I have not moved my bench block away. That's because I want to put some hammering on the edges here. I'm in the mood for some actual hammer marks. I'm going to turn my hammer around and use the ball. Time to cut our links for this size, which measures, I did measure it, now I don't remember. They're roughly 1/2 inch. For this size of 16 gauge wire, you're going to cut 3 centimeters. And for these bracelets, I have a small wrist. I cut about 12. So maybe, anywhere between 10 to 16, depending on your size of your wrist. 3 centimeters for one link. Now you are going to want to make sure that each one of these is already flush cut. I'm going to go ahead and cut my pieces. I'll speed this up so you don't have to drag along. Before we start making our links, we want to take an extra step to finish our project, and it starts now by going through and filing each of these ends nice and smooth. Smooth as you can get them. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is an optional step, but I do find that it's helpful when you're first learning it. And so you start getting the familiarity. You're getting acquainted with it, okay? And figuring out where the middle of each of these 3 centimeter lengths are. That if you just put them on a ruler and mark the center, you're going to see how this is very helpful. Again, using this second step on our bail pliers, placing it right at the end of these cut lengths, rolling in, and usually when we're making a loop, we're trying to get it real nice and snug and tight and perfect, and that's not the goal with this. The goal with this is to get this end where that black dot is. So just that is the goal with this loop. We're not trying to make perfect little, you see how there's like even a gap? Oh, sorry about that. There's a gap here in this loop up against the bail. The goal is to make these 2 ends meet. Take what we've made so far off your pliers, turn around, Make that loop face down. Pliers on the end, and that dot is there where this one is meeting, and so that is the goal, not for a perfect little loop, but to make the end of the wire come around and meet the other one. And that is what you are going for. Of course, you can always come back in. You know what? This is another little extra tip. Down inside your pliers is this nice little area that I find is even more secure than using chain nose pliers to pinch something in. Watch this. You just tuck it in there, down in that little groove, and then pinch it closed. And doesn't slide everywhere. So this is a great tip. I'll show you again what I did. Second step, place it right on the end of these 3 centimeter links. Again, remember, we're not looking for a perfect loop. We want the 2 ends to meet. That end to meet that black dot. Turn your piece and just duplicate the same move that we just made. Bringing that end around to meet the black dot. And like I said before, see, I got a little bit of a gap now. Stick it right down in there. See how perfect that is? I'm going to do one more with you and then I'll speed through these. We're aiming for that black dot using 16 gauge wire, second step on the bail, bringing around the end of our wire to meet that black dot. Take it off, move it around, spin it around. Repeat that very same movement on the other side so that we have reflecting loops. Bring it around that end. Let me get an eye where the other one is. And bringing it in. All right, here's an optional step. Taking your bench blocks, well, I've got blocks, maybe you just have one, and just giving a light tapping out so they lay flat. Now, if you want, you could make it match your clasp just by tapping it out on the ends, maybe even doing the ball part of the hammer. Time to put all our lovely little figure 8s together. I just start with the clasp. It seems to be the easiest. You might need to open it just a little bit to the side to slip that first one on, but then you could just slip it right back. That might what you need to do when you wear the bracelet as well. Just move it to the side a little bit. Now for this, because I'm trying to minimize as many any nicks or scratches in these links as possible, I'm going to use a nylon plier to open them up. You just have to hold it a little more steady because it wants to slide, you know, because that's the nature of them. Just like I just showed you. Closing the loop, and then you just move on down the chain, putting them all together. We're opening to the side, sliding on the next link, opening and adding, and that's as simple as it is. Once you get your pieces made, and I timed it out, I think it took me about 3 or 4 minutes to make these make the links. Once you get really familiar with how it is and you build some muscle memory, it doesn't take any time at all to make these links. And there we have it. This measured out, I didn't even bother to see how long it was going to be. this came out to be, it's like 6¼ inches. One of these links, oh, I didn't close that one all the way. One of these links happens to be about ½ inch. So that's going to help you figure out how many you need to make for the exact bracelet length that you need. A final step that I will do, in addition to just going through and making sure all these are closed up nice and tight, is I've been telling you about a jewelry tumbler. It's a great option to have in your arsenal of tools for that final polishing, especially for chains. It does not eliminate your final polish, but it's a great starting place. These, I have not done any final polishing on them at all. This is simply from the tumbler. Same way with the clasps. Just a lovely shine. It took out any nicks or scratches. And so I encourage you to get one. It will eliminate a lot of frustration. The next thing I could probably use this to figure out is how to take that and use it as an earring and have a stone hanging from the bottom and just attached to an ear wire. Look at this one, is quite interesting. Quite interesting for a matching pair of earrings that would go with the bracelet or your necklace. It's just a great, simple design. So easy, 10 to 15 minutes, you can have a bracelet ready for your next event, ready for your next outfit for coming up for school or coming up for the holidays. I loved having you here. As always, you know that this is one of my favorite things to do. One of my other favorite things is to respond to all your comments, your suggestions. You all have great tips to help me be even better. And I hope that what I am sharing helps you to be better in making your jewelry. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next video.